There is a stillness within you, always present, always available, yet it often goes unnoticed because of the endless distractions of the outer world. To hear the gentle whisper of the divine, you must first become silent, and to become silent, you must be alone. True spiritual growth and connection often require moments of solitude, where you can detach from external distractions and connect deeply with your inner being. In the quietness of aloneness, something profound happens. The outer layers of your identity, the roles you play, the opinions you carry, and the narratives you tell yourself begin to dissolve. What remains is not emptiness, but the essence of who you truly are, a presence that is beyond form, beyond thought, and beyond time. Solitude is not merely a physical state. It is an inner experience of stepping away from the noise of the world. Every day we are bombarded by countless distractions, conversations, social expectations, the demands of technology, and the ever-present hum of collective busyness. These external forces pull us outward, fragmenting our attention and clouding our awareness of what lies within. In solitude, however, we withdraw from this noise, creating the space necessary to rediscover. This withdrawal does not mean running away from life or isolating yourself permanently. It means consciously setting aside time to be fully present with yourself. In doing so, you honor the sacred call to step into the stillness where the divine resides. Without moments of solitude, the mind remains cluttered and reactive, endlessly chasing external validation or avoiding discomfort. But when you sit alone, without the usual disruptions, you begin to observe the patterns of your mind. You notice its restlessness, its tendency to resist the present moment, and its attachment to stories and labels. This observation is a form of liberation because in seeing the mind clearly, you are no longer fully identified with it. Aloneness creates the perfect environment for this inner work. It allows you to engage in deep self-reflection and become aware of the ways you have been conditioned by the world. You may uncover fears you have been avoiding, beliefs that no longer serve you, or emotions that need to be felt and released. These realizations can be uncomfortable at first, but they are necessary for growth. In solitude, you begin to strip away the false layers of identity and come into contact with the unchanging core of your being. This core is not something you can define or grasp. It is the silent awareness beneath all thoughts, the eternal presence that connects you to the divine. What is so profound about this process is that it is not something you need to force. The moment you allow yourself to simply be alone, without distractions or agendas, this connection naturally begins to unfold. Solitude opens a doorway to stillness, and stillness opens a doorway to the presence of God. This presence is not something external, it is the essence of life itself, a life within you and within all things. There's an important distinction to make here. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness arises when you feel disconnected from others and from yourself, but true solitude is an experience of connection, a deep and abiding connection with the source of life. In solitude, you come to realize that you are never truly alone, because the divine is always with you, as close as your own breath. This realization transforms the experience of being alone from something to avoid into something to embrace. In fact, some of the most significant spiritual revelations come not in moments of social interaction, but in the quiet spaces where you are left with nothing but yourself. These moments of aloneness provide clarity, allowing you to see beyond the surface of life and into its deeper truths. You begin to understand that the external world, with all its distractions and chaos, is not the source of your fulfillment. Fulfillment comes from within, from the realization that you are already complete, whole and deeply connected to the divine. When you embrace solitude, you also develop a new relationship with time. In the rush of daily life, time often feels like an enemy, something to manage, control, or fight against. But in solitude, time slows down. You become fully present in the now, where life unfolds with grace and simplicity. This presence allows you to experience life not as a series of tasks or events, but as a sacred flow of being. It is in this state of presence that the divine is most clearly felt. Solitude, then, is not a luxury or an indulgence. It is a necessity for anyone who seeks to live authentically and spiritually. It is in the quiet moments of being alone that you discover the truth of who you are and your inseparable connection to the divine. This discovery is not something you can find in the noise of the world. It must be sought in the stillness of your own heart. In this stillness, you will find not only yourself, but also the presence of God, waiting patiently for you to notice. Being alone allows you to quiet the ceaseless chatter of the mind and access a deeper stillness where divine presence is most profoundly experienced. The mind is constantly active, weaving thoughts, worries, plans, and narratives that keep you tethered to the surface of life. It is not the mind's nature to be still. Its function is to think, analyze, and process. But this activity, when left unchecked, becomes a barrier to experiencing the fullness of life. The mind's noise distracts you from the still, quiet presence that lies beneath it, the very essence of the divine. When you are always surrounded by activities, stimulation, or interaction, this noise becomes so normalized that you may not even notice it. It's like living near a constant hum. You grow accustomed to it, forgetting that silence even exists. Yet true spiritual growth requires you to recognize this hum and step beyond it. Solitude offers you the opportunity to do just that. By removing external distractions, you create the conditions necessary to observe the mind's activity without being swept away by it. In this observation, you discover that the mind is not who you are. It is merely a tool you use to navigate the world. In the absence of distractions, the mind may initially become louder. This is why many people resist being alone. They fear facing the chaos of their thoughts, the discomfort of unresolved emotions, or the stories they have been telling themselves. But this resistance is itself an invitation to go deeper. It is through confronting this noise that you begin to disidentify from it. You see that the thoughts running through your mind are transient, coming and going like clouds in the sky. Beneath them, there is an unchanging awareness that is not caught up in the drama of the mind. This awareness is your true self, the place where the divine resides. The process of quieting the mind does not involve forcing it to stop thinking. Instead, it is about allowing the thoughts to arise and pass without clinging to them. This requires presence, a state of being fully here in this moment, without judgment or resistance. Solitude supports this presence because it removes the stimuli that often trigger the mind's reactivity. Without external input, the mind begins to settle naturally, like muddy water, clearing when left undisturbed. In this clarity, you begin to perceive the stillness that has always been there, waiting beneath the surface. This stillness is not an absence. It is a fullness, a vibrancy, a profound sense of being. It is in this stillness that you come into direct contact with the divine. The divine is not something separate from you, something to be found outside of yourself. It is the essence of who you are, the awareness that observes all things. without attachment. In the quiet of solitude, you experience this directly, not as a concept or belief, but as a living reality. This experience is transformative because it reveals to you that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your roles or identities. You are the awareness in which all of these arise and dissolve. As you deepen into this stillness, you begin to notice its qualities. It is peaceful yet dynamic. It is silent yet alive with presence. It does not demand or strive. It simply is. In this state, you feel a sense of completeness that is untouched by external circumstances. You no longer seek fulfillment in the world because you realize that fulfillment is your natural state. This realization is the heart of spiritual awakening, the recognition that what you have been seeking has always been within you. The mind may still try to pull you back into its noise, but once you have tasted the stillness, you are no longer as easily swayed. You understand that the mind's chatter is not the enemy, it is simply a part of your experience. You can allow it to be without identifying with it. This creates a profound sense of freedom. You are no longer bound by the mind's narratives or driven by its fears. You are anchored in the stillness, and from this place, you can engage with life more fully and authentically. Solitude, therefore, is not a withdrawal from life, but an entry into its deeper dimensions. When you quiet the mind, you open yourself to the subtle, transformative presence of the divine. This presence is not something you have to earn or achieve. It is already here, always available, waiting for you to notice. In the stillness, you realize that you are not separate from the divine, but an expression of it. This realization changes everything. You move through life with a sense of peace, knowing that you are supported by the infinite presence that lies within and around you. The ceaseless noise of the mind may seem overwhelming at first, but solitude teaches you that it is not insurmountable. It shows you that beneath the surface turbulence, there is a vast ocean of stillness. In this stillness, you are free. In this stillness, you come home to yourself. And in this stillness, you meet the divine, not as something apart from you, but as the very essence of your being. Embracing your aloneness is not a withdrawal from the world, but a powerful reconnection with your authentic self, through which you can engage more meaningfully with life. Often, people fear being alone because they equate it with isolation, disconnection, or even a sense of inadequacy. Yet true aloneness, when approached with awareness, is not an experience of separation, but one of profound union. It is a space where the superficial layers of identity fall away, and the deeper truth of who you are is revealed. This truth is not something lonely or incomplete. It is whole, expansive, and deeply interconnected with all of existence. In a world that constantly emphasizes social interaction, productivity, and external validation, aloneness can feel like an uncomfortable or foreign concept. Society often conditions us to believe that our worth is measured by our relationships, achievements, or the roles we play in the lives of others. As a result, being alone is sometimes seen as a failure to belong or a lack of purpose. But this perspective misses the deeper value of solitude. When you embrace your aloneness, you are not turning your back on the world, you are stepping away temporarily to reconnect with the source of your being. This reconnection is essential because it is only from a place of inner wholeness that you can fully give yourself to others and to life. Aloneness creates a sacred space for introspection and self-discovery. In the stillness of being alone, you have the opportunity to see yourself more clearly. Without the influence of others' opinions or the noise of external distractions, you can begin to discern what is truly important to you. You may discover hidden fears, unresolved emotions, or longings you have ignored. You may also reconnect with passions and desires that have been buried under the weight of daily obligations. This process of self-discovery is not always easy, as it often involves confronting aspects of yourself that you would rather avoid. But it is in facing these truths that you begin to grow, heal, and transform. Through this process, you come to realize that your worth is not dependent on anything external. It does not come from your accomplishments, your relationships, or how others perceive you. Your worth is intrinsic, rooted in the simple fact of your existence. When you embrace aloneness, you tap into this inherent worth. You stop seeking validation from the outside world and instead find it within yourself. This shift is deeply empowering because it frees you from the need to conform to others' expectations or to chase after things that do not truly fulfill you. Paradoxically, the more you embrace your aloneness, the more deeply connected you become to life and to others. When you're at peace with being alone, you no longer approach relationships from a place of neediness or fear. Instead, you engage with others from a place of wholeness, offering your authentic self without trying to gain approval or fill a void. This creates deeper, more meaningful connections because they are rooted in authenticity rather than dependency. By knowing yourself fully, you are better able to understand and relate to others. Aloneness also enhances your capacity to appreciate the present moment. When you are constantly surrounded by activity or caught up in the demands of life, it is easy to lose touch with the simple beauty of existence. But in moments of solitude, when there is nothing to distract you, you become more attuned to the subtle, miraculous aspects of life. You notice the way light filters through the trees, the rhythm of your own breath, or the quiet hum of nature. These moments of presence are not trivial. They are profound reminders of the interconnectedness of all things. In solitude, you begin to see that you are not separate from the world, but an integral part of its flow. This sense of interconnectedness is perhaps the most transformative aspect of aloneness. When you go deep enough into yourself, you find that you are not isolated at all. The boundaries between self and other begin to blur, and you experience a profound unity with all of existence. This unity is not something you need to create or achieve. It is always there, waiting to be noticed. Aloneness simply provides the space for you to see it clearly. In this space, you come to understand that the same life force flowing through you is flowing through everything and everyone around you. Embracing aloneness, therefore, is not about retreating from the world, but about engaging with it from a deeper, more authentic place. When you are comfortable being alone, you no longer approach life with a sense of lack or incompleteness. Instead, you show up fully, rooted in your own being and connected to the larger whole. This allows you to navigate life with greater clarity, purpose, and joy. Aloneness is a gift, not a burden. It is a reminder that everything you seek outside of yourself, peace, love, fulfillment, already exists within you. When you embrace your aloneness, you are not withdrawing from life, you are returning to its source. And from this place of return, you can step back into the world with open arms, ready to give, receive, and participate in the beautiful, interconnected dance of existence. The journey of embracing aloneness is not about isolation or abandonment of the world, but rather a return to the very essence of who you are. Through solitude, you gain the invaluable opportunity to step beyond the noise of the mind, to reconnect with the stillness and presence that is always within you. This quiet space allows you to discover your true self, free from external expectations and distractions, and to realize that you are not separate from the divine, but an integral part of it. This quiet space allows you to discover your true self, free from external expectations and distractions, and to realize that you are not separate from the divine, but entirely connected to it. As you embrace being alone, you find not loneliness, but a profound sense of wholeness and connection, both with yourself and the entire universe. The peace and clarity that emerge from solitude enable you to engage more authentically with life and with others. In this deeper connection, you realize that your aloneness is not a void. It is the sacred space where you encounter your true nature and experience the divine in its purest form. The more you allow yourself to be alone, the more you recognize that you are never truly alone, for the presence of the divine is always with you. It is in this aloneness that you find freedom, peace, and the power to live a life aligned with your deepest truth. Ultimately, aloneness is not something to fear, but something to embrace, for it is in those quiet moments that you come face to face with the timeless, eternal presence of God, and with the radiant, infinite potential of your own being.